Good afternoon and welcome to Football Extra with Graham, FOUAD and Robert. Of course, Graham on my right, Robert on my left. How you going, guys?
Good to be back.
Excellent. And what a week it was. Great week for fans. Goals galore. 4s and 5 and 6 and hat-tricks, and English Premier League is no different. We've had a lot of entertaining games and a lot of late goals. Graham, just lead us into the A-League, my friend.
A-League, well, we come off the back of a great performance, a great game against Melbourne Victory last week, which
It's a cracker.
Which the whole league were envious of, with a massive crowd down there, nearly 15,000.
Isn't that good to see?
Yeah, I see that the Ernst Faber's replacement, another Dutch young fella, I watched an interview with him yesterday, and he was saying that that's the type of thing in Holland that you get week in, week out.
That's
and
right.
This is, and I guess most of Australia, with the ground that we've got at Coopers and everything else there, really must be envious when we see some of the crowds that they're getting interstate.
Or lack of, yeah. I was
Lack
going to
of,
say,
yeah.
I think the stadium, Coopers, High Marsh, that's the blueprint for what all the clubs should be seeking. I think having them playing in these huge stadiums with
Like Suncorp.
vast empty grandstands, it's not a good look for the game at all.
No, I mean, and when we see like Wellington is awful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's shocking,
It is a basin, as they call it over there, the basin. But it's,
Isn't it amazing, guys? Half time, I think we had a call.
We had a conference call.
We're now talking about the game Adelaide and Brisbane yesterday. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, just. But we're talking in general, you're talking Brisbane, how many people and all that.
That was not a good advert for the game.
Yeah, and we were just started analysing the stuff, but it's funny, the three of us wrote off Adelaide United.
At half-time we did. The way they were playing, it was just awful.
Well, it was, and from the get-go, the selection, the setup just didn't look right for 60% humidity and high temperatures.
Yes.
At 4 o'clock kickoff in Brisbane, and we really had two wingers sat wide and not really getting a sniff, and then trying to play two strikers through the middle, which left the midfield with barely
gaping
holes in it. So
you had Taladera and White sort of as your two midfielders, and they were just running ragged. And okay, they're young and they're energetic, but even so, in those conditions, as you said, you can't expect them just to keep running up and down to try to control the midfield.
Exactly, and if we look at the side that they put out there, was a normal Smits in goal, and then Barnett, who we need three of because he's been named at right back. He would have been the best choice as a centre back, and he would have been the best choice as a midfield player in this game.
We saw when changes were made later in the game when he had to go into central defence. The defence looked a lot tighter there. So why not start him there if you have no other centre back to play who's got some experience at least? I mean, playing the kids is great, but when you've got two young teenagers playing in the centre back and centre midfield.
But I still believe that we're missing something in the centre.
Oh,
it does not exist.
Yeah, but that's what we're saying. That it's the selection that concerns me. Yeah, we're getting a result in the end, but we're putting ourselves into a situation.
So does that mean Alagij?
Well, Alagij was a big loss, not having him in the central midfield, and also Luke Dizelle. I'm not sure if he was injured or why he was out of the squad.
Well, he'd been 2 weeks ago. Was on the bench, wasn't he? So I have the feeling he's been carrying
an injury
something
we're not aware of. Yeah,
and with Bart Vriends out at the defence as well, which was a bit of a surprise because he played really well.
He played the 90 minutes the week before against Victory. So,
question for you, Robert. We have a tremendous, exciting young kid. He just came on the block. It's on his second game, and scored a hat-trick. And we were just saying before we started the show that it was great, crossing to him. It was, the support and the balls that he's got. But you said a fantastic point. You know, like,
I think,
point.
yeah.
Let's say
Positioning
Let's say his name.
Let's say his name.
Brody
Brody
Burkett.
Burkett.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Another young teenager
Well,
through the ranks.
Originally from Seaford Rangers.
There you go.
So there's not many top players come out of the
No, I
Southern
wouldn't-
District.
I wouldn't think
so
so, no.
it's good to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that brings me to a point that I want to ask you both. Now, he scored a hat-trick, okay? It doesn't matter the circumstances. He positioned himself, as you said, the crosses and the support was great. He used his chances. He scored 3 goals. By the way, we could have been 3-all if not a great save by Smith.
Smith was amazing.
In the last last shot of the game. True. So, how do we keep this young lad, you know, like, so it doesn't go to his head, you know, and you know, you gotta, that was a game. That game is finished. Okay, so what do we do now?
Well, I think Andrioli's probably best positioned because of his experience as a junior coach. Or
He's worked
with all these young kids that come through, and I'm pretty sure. And he's not an inexperienced coach. He is from a senior level point of view, but I think he's got enough football experience to know that. You know, okay, this was a great game for him. He scored a hat-trick. That doesn't mean he's necessarily going to start next week.
No, well, that's what I'm getting at.
Well, remember,
just bring him back as a sub.
You've got SAS, you've got Galekovic, you've got all these people
around
in the coaching thing. You know, so they've got plenty of experience. I mean, I've seen him play before in the MPL games. You know, and he was one of the top goal scorers in that as well. So he knows where the goals.
He's got a nose for goals.
Yeah, and what I liked about him, it looks like he's got a bit of attitude, a bit of personality, sort of, you know.
Shocking haircut. As a former hairdresser, I've got to say that. But yeah, I like his attitude on the pitch. It's really great.
Well, you could be a sponsor then. Yeah.
But I think we got to give him a day or so to celebrate that phenomenal performance. But come back down to earth and start again.
I think I was trying to look it up, but it was mentioned there that he possibly is the first sub to come on at half time and score a hat trick. The other one who came, they thought now they're sort of talking about Irukunda.
Yeah.
So you know, it's well, he's got every opportunity. I mean, but it's next week he might not get a kick.
He may not.
You know, I mean,
so who will play next week? It's okay.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that in a minute. I think we also need to pay credit to the players who provided the assists for Burkett because, you know, the first one was from Johnny Yule. The second goal was set up by Yaya Dekuli. And for me, the pick of the bunch was the one Muniz cross. And now that's 2 weeks in a row where Muniz in general play, not from a free kick, has put in an absolute perfect cross. And credit to Burkett for that header because it was slightly behind him. He had to generate a lot of pace off his own using his neck muscles to the extreme to get that ball into that top right-hand corner.
I'm not sure, but did you think that the defender gave him enough sort of a nudge that actually made it flick?
Possibly. I'd have to review that.
Yeah, if you have a look, I think the defender's just given him enough that he got under the ball a bit, which gave it the skim it into the far corner.
That's so true.
So it was a great performance, really, in the second half, isn't it? Well, it's just a completely different game.
Well, it's
a game of two halves.
It was a complete shock. From what you saw in the first half. As I say, we discussed it at half time, and I guess luckily most of the moves that we'd suggested he made.
But that was like a horrible months for Vilkanis in the last 4 weeks or so. They've lost so many points in just but on the other hand, it was a revenge for us 2-3 weeks ago when they scored that rocket in the last kick of the show, so that was
that's from I mean, when we say it's a bit of a bad time from what it has because he lost his mother, so that's why he wasn't there because people were speculating why wasn't he at the game last week.
No, we knew some tragedy
he had to go back to Greece, wasn't it?
That's right.
Okay, just what other game are you going to start next?
Well, we'll look at Auckland and Central Coast Mariners, if you like, because that's a shock that Central Coast, to the moment, are being run by the league. They've removed the previous owner, and I think the ex-president of Sydney Olympic apparently has put through he's been around the place looking to take over the club
license,
anyway, the license. So that's in the wings, but it makes us feel better than what we got beaten 4-0 by Central Coast. They've actually played the top team and taken a point off of them.
Yeah, but let me tell you this. I mean, I'm not seeing this as Auckland of last year or Auckland's of the beginning of the campaign. I mean, there's something is not right. Something is not is missing. You know, like they're losing more games, they're conceding more goals, and they're not scoring as many as all the other teams. So, what do you put that down to?
Yeah, but they didn't score a lot of goals though last year. As their defence was the strong point. They're the Japanese guy, whatever. Now, without analysing them to see who's out injured, really is that's the key. The goalkeeper they had last year was the top goalkeeper the Bournemouth signed and then loaned back. It was Wellington's keeper the season before when they won the league. They bought him, loaned him back to their club, Auckland, and he played last season. So they've lost probably the best goalkeeper in the league, basically.
Okay.
So that all of those things, and unless you go through the injuries and all the rest of it to really see where they're at, it's difficult.
And I think we'd be remiss if we don't mention the Macarthur Melbourne City game last night.
Yeah, no, that needs a separate
section.
So,
itself.
what do you think? We go into a break and then we come back.
Okay.
And welcome back to Football Extra, of course, with Graham, myself, and Robert. Graham, lead us into the next game, which I believe it's Macarthur against Melbourne City, which they're not in form as of late.
No, that's right. Well, Macarthur's bolstered their ranks with Mitch Duke coming into the side. I think in Japan now the season's over, so there's that break that he needs to play somewhere. So for any team that probably got Mitch Duke, who's a good chance to go to the World Cup, a striker. There's not too many top strikers in the A-League, and that's going to make a big difference to them. And the 6-2 win is more like the tennis, isn't it, really, when you look at it. So Mitch Duke scored in the 7th minute there. So and other goals from Bratton and Caceres, Vickery, and I think 6-2, a huge result. I thought at the time there that initially that Melbourne had got back to 2-1, and it seemed like they might get somewhere, but 6-2 is huge.
Yeah, massive loss for Melbourne City.
Well, that's Aurelio Vidmar coaching over there. But I know they've had a lot of games through this season and playing in Asia and all the rest of it, and injuries. But 6-2 is a massive loss.
But you can't just not feel sorry for the goalkeeper, Beach.
He's the
you
top
know,
goalkeeper.
Yeah, and then it doesn't. It's not a true reflection, or like because he's conceding 6, and I don't know last week how many in the week before. So that is not looking good for him. I mean, it doesn't look good for him and his morale boost, I guess.
Well, if you look on the flash score ratings, I mean, I don't think I've seen too many people get down to 4.7 as much they've given that comes up for the goalkeeper beach. So that's it's pretty low. Whereas I say if we look at in Burkett in that game, he got 9.5. So
But it doesn't matter. I mean, if if you lose by 3 or 4 or 5, or concede 3 or 4 or 5, the goalkeeper's not going to.
Well, the thing is as well. I mean, their striker Caputo is at 4.1. So you can see. I mean, they're all over the ground. They couldn't stop them and they couldn't score them.
But I think this is unfair to him anyway, because he saved at least 5 or 6 other goals. It could have been, the score could have been 8, 9, whatever. Okay, that was a big score, 6-2 for the MacArthur, and I think they're sitting third now or something.
And we'll look at the table shortly, but Friday night, of course, it was Newcastle and Wellington Phoenix, and the new home of Zach Clough. Is signed for Newcastle. Didn't play. He's probably still to be registered or whatever else as clearances and things come through. But and I guess he's not Australian, so he's got some paperwork to be doing again.
True that.
Yeah. So, but it's another player that comes back to Australia after going away for a couple of months. We'll go through them a bit later. We've got a transfer window sort of update.
Yes.
And we'll see there's quite a few Adelaide players that come back to the country, but not to Adelaide.
And, speaking about Melbourne City, apparently they've brought in about 4 new players, including ex-Socceroos players as well. So that's something we
That's right. That's right.
About.
So
4-1 is a score. That's a big score,
Newcastle
wasn't
4,
Yeah.
well, Mark Milligan's got a pretty exciting attacking style of play because he was assistant to Viet here. So they're sort of following that sort of way Adelaide played last season.
Yeah, and they're flying high in second place on the table, so that's pretty impressive.
Oh, it is, and I mean they've had some ups and downs, but pre-season, remember they won the pre-season cup, didn't they? The Australia Cup, they won that. So yeah, they've putting the score on the board for sure. So it's
so today's game is what?
Western Sydney Wanderers with a new coach.
Yes, Van Edman.
Van Egmon's. It was no surprise, was it? So Alan Stajic was given these marching orders, and well, I think when he came out. Really having a go at the media and everybody for not promoting the game and et cetera, it probably doesn't help.
No.
Is it?
Mind you, he was being honest, and I like
but,
that about him.
We've seen in the Premier League when the managers are honest,
what happens?
Next minute they're out the door.
Sad but true. Yeah.
But mind you, their payouts a lot more than that Alan Stajic is going to be getting. So Western Sydney at home. They can't draw a crowd there, and I mean they
used to have a good crowd.
It was massive. It was as soon as we started to trying to calm them down a bit, and the as far as the some of their crowd went, they did go, and that's been a bit of the issue there. But Perth Glory have been improving. They got some good players. Taggart. Yeah. There is a good striker. So there is an improvement for sure. Yeah. Well, they've got some steady ownership, haven't they? I mean, they were sold for about $1, on the condition that the investors invested, I think, $1 million a year for the next 3 years.
That's a good business to buy. Just buy it for $1. It's good.
Well, what else is there? What is there?
Actually,
what are you buying?
You're buying a business. You're paying wages. You're paying expenses.
You spend $1 to lose $1 million. That's what it is.
That's not a good business model.
So, and then tomorrow, which is Australia Day, there is another game which is important because Sydney is playing, of course, Victory. and Sydney's they got 2 games in hand, I guess.
It's 5:10, so people
Well,
know
couldn't they
that.
play it later again because of the heat? And
Well, yeah, Melbourne, could be smoke and everything's a problem coming across talking about the tennis today and whatnot. So there's fires in the area there. So, but Melbourne victory. Well, we saw them last week. Were they impressive?
no, but it's just hot and cold. You know, they'll play one week a great game and they can score and they can attack and all that, but you know, other
Well,
times.
their best part of the game, obviously, was when Adelaide were tiring towards the end, and probably the subs they brought on, the big guy up front, whatever, caught Adelaide out at the back, and so from there it went, didn't it? You know, so their subs coming on were probably were the changing factor for them against Adelaide to get back in the game. Sydney.
So who's to win?
Well,
I think, but Sydney is still missing Jolly, or he's back.
Not sure whether he's back as yet.
Because he's pretty close to coming.
It's funny, just on Sydney, I mean, if you remember last year when Douglas Costa, the Brazilian, was here playing for them. You remember him?
Yes.
And he was a big player. He's had a bit of injuries and things over the time, but he's been a top player. But I just noticed that he's signed up in Italy, I think it was Italy, in Serie D. D.
Okay.
Which is, fourth division.
Yeah.
For a team there, so it just makes you look at it. The money that he was getting, obviously, he was getting top money playing for Sydney. Next stop, Serie D. You know, when you go in Europe.
All right. Shall we? I'm not sure what you want to do because I'm eager to have a look at the ladder. If
The A-League?
yes,
Yep, absolutely.
A-League ladder. Yes, please.
So currently we have Auckland in top spot with 25 points, Newcastle with second with 24, MacArthur, who've played an extra match, they're on third on 23 points. Now Sydney are in fourth place with 22 points, but they've actually got 2 games or 3 games in hand. So they could seriously, you know, if they get maximum points, they could easily get to the top.
If you look at Sydney, I mean, they've only conceded 9 goals in those 12 games. I mean, so they're defending pretty well, aren't they?
They are.
And so yes, go on from there, Robert.
And then in fifth place we've got Adelaide United on 22 points. They've played 14 games, and Brisbane Roar are in sixth, played 15 games, and they've got 21 points. And then just out of the 6 we've got Melbourne City and Wellington, and Melbourne Victory.
And down the bottom 3, we have Perth Glory, Central Coast. Well, actually, for the strife they've been in, 13 points, they're doing pretty well.
Absolutely.
You know, and Western Sydney Wanderers down at the bottom, has played 13 games, 12 points. So no wonder the coach got the bullet.
So how does a club that size, with their support, with the money they would have from that support, how are they in the bottom spot? Again, it's like bizarre, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it is, but I can tell you if you want to go into the transfer window, what you said they've got money. Yes, they have, and they're spending a bit of it now by the look of things. And in the transfer window, we'll know this name, Hiroshi Ibusuki. He's ex-Adelaide, 6'5", Japanese. He went to Western United when Adelaide didn't want to give him the length of contract that he wanted. That contract turned out not to be too good at Western United, did it? Because they went out of business temporarily. So he went to East Bengal in India, but he's now returning to play for Western Sydney Wanderers. And probably the star name is coming over at the moment is Ryan Fraser, to Western Sydney Wanderers also. Now he's with Southampton. He's 34, Scottish international winger. He's only a little fella, 5'4".
So he was playing for Southampton recently.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Newcastle previously, and so he's a busy small wing type player.
Is that what they're lacking? do you think?
Lacking
Everywhere.
I think this is just the beginning. As we said, Zach Clough come back from Selangor FC. It was obviously an opportunity too big to miss when he was leaving Adelaide. But so he's going to Newcastle
Is that a
Jets.
loss for Adelaide, do you think?
No, look, I think he was a bit sort of injury. Remember, they always have to take him off at 60 minutes. And
He couldn't last the whole...
he couldn't last the games.
Yeah, for me, he had moments of quality, but it wasn't consistent enough.
No,
I think
right.
fitness-wise, it just doesn't finish.
And you got,
90
and
minutes.
those are the clubs that got to balance. They get how much are we paying you?
That's
you
right.
know? Nick Agostino, who we saw come on for Brisbane yesterday. He's come back on loan from Viking in FC in Denmark. So
Wasn't getting regular time.
no, I
there.
think now the season's just about finishing there this because of the winter, you know, so they got that big break there anyway. And he obviously was on the bench. Daniel Arzani is come back from Ferencváros in Hungary, initially on loan, gone back to where he started, Melbourne City.
Yeah.
So
Because he also played for Melbourne Victory.
he did,
At one point, yeah.
and he went to Manchester City, which
Yeah.
didn't work because they loaned him out to Celtic and did his knee.
Yeah,
and
that was a bit sad because, you know, he's certainly a quality player.
Look, I mean, with all of these, I mean, at the moment, Irakunda's coming on off the bench all of a sudden. And you're going to change a manager of any of these clubs, and it changes anybody's
Everything.
career,
Yeah,
you know.
for sure.
And to be said before, Mitch Duke is on loan from Machida in Japan, and that's to MacArthur. So, and let's make sure there's no more hiding over the page. No, so that sort of covers those. And as we also said with the Central Coast thing, that administration by the Premier, by the Australian A-League, and but maybe a Sydney Olympic proposal there to take over.
Right, Graham, just a quick one. Just on Newcastle before we go to a break. When you see a new young coach like Mark Milligan, do you see that because he's energetic, he's young, he can
Relate
get
to
the
the
message
players.
to relate to the players, so the message is getting across, and then create success and so on. Is that reason for his success, or because I mean it could have been another coach and more of the same?
Well, I think they're taking. Look to me that they're taking a similar approach to Adelaide. They've got a lot of younger players there's a lot of players at clubs like Melbourne Victory and were at Western United. They've picked up some of these players, you know, and they're performing. I mean, you look at there's a lad there that's cracking free kicks and everything else last week. He's only 20, and so that's probably the program they're looking at. Most of the clubs are looking at the way we can't afford. Clubs like Newcastle, Adelaide haven't got the money to just keep on playing out for mega stars to come.
It seems they're playing exciting football, fast, quick passes, and you know they're hungry for goals, and they're scoring lots of goals. I mean, every week they just they're doing a great job. So, Robert,
Yes.
that was this young man, and I mean, like. If we talk about success and the message, and this young coach coming into the A-League, and that's his first time in the A-League to coach a team. We go to Melbourne City, very like good experienced coach has been there,
Yes.
champions from last year and so on. Big change from last year to this year, and then to lose by 6 and this and that. Is he getting his message across, or what is the reason?
Very hard to say because you'd think that they've got enough quality players there to be battling
that's
for the
what I'm saying, yeah.
top 6 position. So it's pretty hard to say. You know, how long has he been coaching there now?
4 or 5 years, maybe.
No, I think it was only the beginning. He got switched over at the beginning. Because Norbo walked out on them, remember?
Right,
and
yes.
he took over then, which is the tail end of the season before last, wasn't it?
yeah.
I think.
That's his 3rd season, I think. Yeah, no. Maybe.
Well,
Anyway. But
yeah.
whether or not the
Yeah,
players
yeah,
are not getting the message, or there's just a breakdown, like the team chemistry is not what it was from last year.
Look, I'll give you this from this weekend. This probably doesn't cover everyone, but their injury list is Durakovic, Lecky, Naboot, Oshnam, Romani, Rashani, whatever. So they've got some. I mean, you put Lecky back in the side and Naboot back in the side.
That makes a difference.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. And I mean, I say money isn't their issue.
Definitely
So,
not.
they're one of the few clubs that got a great training set up and junior set up and all the rest of it. But you look through their side. They've just signed Teague, who's another one they just brought back from overseas.
That's right.
So they've gone straight into the team. So say Bayech is in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, blame the coach.
That's usually the fall.
If we talk about the sacking of course,
Stage.
Stanic, last week, and well, that's happened, and it was not a matter of it's when.
It's if or when, yeah.
But I believe there's another one from Wellington. I think he's probably not doing
Not
as
far.
good as, not far behind, like, do you back me on that? No?
No,
Okay.
you don't give them long, do you?
I don't give him long.
Look,
No,
I think the impact of Auckland coming into the competition is the issue there, isn't
No,
it?
the thing with Wellington, I mean, he hasn't hit me as that's only my opinion.
Giancarlo Italiano.
Yeah. He hasn't hit me as a bright coach. I mean, what is he has achieved so far in the last 3 years?
Well, they were top of the table, weren't they, the season before last? But the thing, what it is that if people are going to point at anything, is the fact that they're playing a really high line. So there's a lot of room behind them, so they get caught out, and it's it's a bit like with Ange played that. It was true. Ange played the high line at Tottenham, and got canned for it. Is basically reckless. So coaches want to play that way because you can play in the
They
front
want to
half.
be remembered for something.
Well, yeah, I think this is a bit of a problem if you're a coach and you have a style of play that you won't shift from. You end up generally getting yourself into strife.
All right, boys,
Can I just quickly mention before we leave the A-League in general, just with the A-League women's competition and Adelaide United in particular, they've had a couple of good wins over the last couple of weeks. They bet Melbourne Victory 2-1, and they also defeated Newcastle 2-1 as well, which has now placed them in the 5th position on the A-League women's ladder. So that's good place. Good
we haven't
situation.
been giving him their enough
credit.
footage.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Well, thanks for that, Robert.
Well, the young girl in goal has been the change there. That's when you see her, you'll see somebody who's on the way, all the way up to the Matildas, I'd say.
Oh, let's hope
Beautiful.
so.
All right.
Okay.
Let's have a break, Robert.
And welcome back to Football Extra with Graham, Robert and myself, FOUAD. And time goes quick when we are talking and giving lots and lots of scores. Graham, are we going to start the English Premier League?
Why not? For once, I can sort of we can kick off with a good result last night.
Of course, your team.
Let's just say West Ham 3, Sunderland 1. And an early goal there, which for Somerville, which the smallest player on the park, managed to get up for a screaming header there. So a decent cross from Bowen, and it took a 1-0 win for West Ham, and then a penalty when Skulls were brought down in the box. Bowen took that one and nearly slipped over, but just managed to get it through.
Yeah.
And probably the man of the match for me was 21-year-old, £40 million worth of Portuguese as Fernandes for West Ham there, which is really coming of age once now Paqueta looks like he's going out the door, thankfully. And
No love lost.
overrated terribly.
Yes.
And so Fernandes scored a cracking shot into the top corner of the box, of the goal there, and very nearly got another one that towards the end of the game. In the meantime, West Ham, as they do, managed to give out the goal away. I think they haven't got a clean sheet for 19 matches or something. So a 3-1 win, which puts them a little bit closer to Nottingham Forest there to try to escape the relegation trapdoor. Yeah. So
one thing I thought about last night to watching that game was Bowen, how good a player he is, and I'm thinking worst case scenario, if West Ham don't survive in the Premier League, how many clubs will be going out for him, because he's an absolute amazing,
terrific guy as well.
Terrific player.
And the thing is, what now Somerville's playing well, and they brought in 2 new strikers through the middle there to occupy, because more and more teams have all of a sudden going 4-4-2.
Yes.
Leeds and West Ham are starting to go to occupy those defenders and let's stop them playing out from the back. The game is changing.
Yep.
If you look at it, we're going back to long throws, corners under the, we flick on corners, which was, I could never understand what that fell out.
Speaking of corners, that's something I brought up in discussion with my son as we were watching the game last night.
Oh yeah.
We were watching some of the Champions League highlights, goals that were scored through the week. The number of goals that are scored off corners, because back in the day when I was playing soccer and I was coaching, you would always, when you were defending a corner, you'd have one player on the front post, defender, second defender on the back post, your goalkeeper in the middle. That covered a fair portion of your goal, and then your strikers had to come back and defend and do whatever. And it was man marking, none of this zonal marking. Okay, so now they've decided, no, we're going to zone mark, because it's all about marking space, not the player. But space doesn't score a goal. The player scores a goal. And when you've got goalkeeper in the middle of the goals or anywhere positioned along the line and no one else covering the front and back post, for me, it's a recipe for disaster. Okay, you might say, oh, yeah, but we've got more defenders. But if they're not marking players, what's the point?
Well, that's right. And you can see now where seemingly all of a sudden the goalkeepers are allowed to be basically blocked from getting to the ball, which is absolutely ridiculous.
I know.
I couldn't believe it last night in the West Ham game when the goalkeeper got a free kick, and I thought, well, hang on. I mean, that was Souček when he sort of hardly touched him.
Yes.
If it was a corner, the goalkeeper's being wrestled in the headlock.
I know. Anything goes.
That's okay.
If they complain about it, they get a yellow card. So, can't understand.
Yes, and then to follow that, you were still up and about.
So you didn't watch that game?
Well, I watched the game, but then you watched the Liverpool game.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I got up early and watched it, and another horrible performance from Liverpool. And
should we say it was 3-2 to Bournemouth?
Yes, yeah. But, Bournemouth scored in the 26th and the 33rd in the space of 5 minutes. Liverpool were 2-0 down, and that's a shocker. And then thanks to Van Dijk, and he scored, basically it's 2 mistakes by Van Dijk anyway. And then he scored in the 45th minutes, and so it made it 2-1, and then another blunder from him later on. And but before that, there was a free kick, and then Salah did a back heel or whatever, did the ball to Soboslai, and he just put a beautiful goal. So I made it 2-2, and it looked good, and they were going well
Until it wasn't.
till the 95th minute or something, and another goal, another mistake. But that did you see it? The goal? Yeah, it's like I don't know if you've seen it. It was like near the goalpost, and there was all the players hit the ball. It's like ping pong, and at the end it just went in. And another bad loss for Liverpool. So I'm sorry to say that, but he's in trouble. Honestly.
Well, yeah, could be. Another one in trouble is Thomas Frank, get booed off the ground, and the old chance of you getting sacked. Not just in the morning, but on the way home.
Before you leave the stadium.
So that was...
We're making all these sackings here.
and Ange is looking better by the minute.
At least he won a trophy.
It wasn't. Well, actually, they're doing all right in the Champions League.
I know,
well,
that's
Tottenham.
surprising.
So it's a strange situation. But Burnley, who was struggling down the bottom there, it's ended up with well, they were 2-1 up with seconds to go when the Romero again got a bullet header. Yeah. So the defenders are doing better than the forwards for Tottenham.
Van der Ven and Romero scored the 2 goals for Tottenham.
Yeah,
so
that's
what's
right.
the midfield and strikers doing?
2-2, and now Harry Wilson for Fulham yet again with a cracking free kick.
He's a special player.
He's unbelievable, isn't he?
He is.
He's been underrated for years. He was a Liverpool player
Is
originally.
he in the English squad?
Wales. Yeah, he plays for Wales.
He's a good player.
That's why he's not in the English squad.
That's right. Funny about that.
But, Fulham 2, Brighton 1. So a good result there. They're hard to beat at home, Fulham, that's for sure. And Manchester City, I started to watch a bit of that, saw the first goal. Your Egyptian friend there, Marmoush. He started in front of Haaland. So, but Haaland hadn't scored for a number of games, but he did come on here. So that's a 2-0 win against Wolves, which was to be expected, you'd say. And so we've got there, and Semenyo scored yet again. I think it's about his 19th goal of the season, after coming with Bournemouth and then now with Manchester City.
Good player.
And so that was the games overnight. So the games coming up.
Some interesting ones there, definitely.
Go for it.
So we've got...
do it.
So we've got Brentford against Nottingham Forest.
Well, I'll be hoping for Brentford there.
You would, yeah. Crystal Palace, Chelsea.
I'll be hoping for Chelsea there.
I think a good game, Newcastle, Aston Villa. I think that would be a really good game.
Aston Villa.
Between those two sides.
Newcastle's much better at home than they've been away. So, you sort of go a draw, but there. And Arsenal, Manchester United. That's 3 in the morning.
Well, Manchester United are improving, to be quite honest, but whether they can beat Arsenal on their performance of late from the beginning of the season, I'll go Arsenal.
Well, I think you've got to look at with Arsenal. They haven't beaten any of the. They've drawn with all of the Liverpool, Manchester City,
Liverpool is
all the teams up the top. They've drawn basically. So they don't. But if you don't lose, you're still maintaining that gap.
That's right. And I think Manchester United, the way they've been playing the last couple of weeks under Carrick, they seem to have a little more grit about them, and they not remind me of the Manchester United of old, not yet, but there were just glimpses of it. There's glimpses of it.
Do you know what the common sense thing is? Fernandes, isn't it? You're right. They're star player. Previously, they keep playing him, trying to make him into a defensive midfield player.
Which is not.
He's a free-going player. Yeah. But when he came from Portugal, I remember one of the journalists from over there said, you won't be able to tell him what to do.
Yeah.
He's just a free player.
Yeah.
Now, if you let him do that, and then they brought Kobe Mainu back in and Casemiro doing the defensive holding role, it's common sense.
Of course it is.
But they paid these managers a hell of a lot of money to do stupid things.
I know.
It's just amazing.
Because if he doesn't have that defensive responsibility, okay, he might be in and out of the game, but when he does get the ball, he always creates something.
That's right.
Or scores.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you need him in that attacking third.
Yeah. So
what I'll do, if it is okay, I'll go through the table and then you guys can give us next week's games.
Yep.
Arsenal on number 1, 50 points, followed by on 22 games, so they're still going to have a game in hand. Manchester City is started to climb back the ladder, so second position at 46, followed by Aston Villa, which they're showing good performances of late, on 43 points, and funnily enough, Liverpool is still top 4.
How?
I don't understand. But it's not going to be for long because there's a game, the Manchester United game. If they get a point or something out of that, they might beat the... Anyway, having said that, they're the top 5, and then Chelsea 6, Fulham 7, and Brentford 8. Bottom teams, of course, the last 3, although... your team did very well last night, and they got to 20 points. So it means Nottingham Forest could be in trouble if they don't pick their game up.
Well, there's hope.
They've got a better goal difference though than West Ham. -30.
You just got to win. You just got to win games, haven't you?
That's right. So the West Ham is 18s, 19s is Burnley, and Wolves is 20. We haven't prepared for that, but you guys always look into it more than me. Do you know who are the teams that they could come up next year from the...
Oh yeah, the moment in the championship, you got Middlesbrough around the mark there. Ipswich, you lost last night, didn't go well. Millwall, and I think I've forgotten the ones at the top of the table, so we better look at that. Oh, Coventry, of course, but Frank Lampard is the manager there. So Ipswich, Hull just made a run of it. So it's a playoff situation. No one thought Sunderland was going to get up until they came through the playoffs. So the top 2 teams come up automatically. At the moment, Ipswich losing last night, so Middlesbrough and Coventry are the 2 sitting in those sort of positions. The games through just this week, we've got Tuesday is Leeds and Everton are playing, okay? And then on, let me just go through here to Thursday is the Champions League. In that, I'll just a glimpse at it, Benfica and Real Madrid, interesting game, Dortmund, Inter, Eintracht Frankfurt, Tottenham, Liverpool against Qarabag, and Juventus against Napoli. Napoli against Chelsea, Monaco and Juventus. So there's the games on Thursday, and on Friday, I think, what have we got there? This back to the A-League, but did we mention who Adelaide are playing next week? I don't think we did we?
I think they play Newcastle. Macarthur, yes, Macarthur.
And that is at home?
Double check.
Yes.
It is at home.
Yes.
See that previously.
I'm pretty sure it's Macarthur. Yeah. It's not Newcastle.
Where are we? Matches. Here we go. 30th of January. That's next Friday at 7:05 p.m. We've got Adelaide United and Macarthur at Cooper Stadium.
Very good.
All right. So we're going to finish off, I believe, with the table from the Premier League. No, not the Premier League. The table, the games.
Games coming up.
Yeah,
okay, so we've got. It'll be
Round 24.
Round 24. The 1st of February. We've got Brighton, Everton, Leeds, Arsenal, Wolves, Bournemouth, Chelsea, West Ham, Liverpool, Newcastle, must win. And same for Chelsea, West Ham. Graham.
Yeah.
Aston Villa, Brentford, Man
Who's your team?
My team?
Yeah.
Tottenham, unfortunately.
Yeah, well.
The less said, the better.
They call them now Dr. Tottenham. If you're going poorly, just play against them. Call Dr. Tottenham.
So we got Man United, Fulham, Nottingham Forest against Crystal Palace, Tottenham, Man City, Sunderland, Burnley.
Okay, guys, that we'll conclude, of course, Football Extra for today, and we'll see you again with an exciting round of games for the A-League and Premier League, and we are going to include, as Robert did today, some of the Women's League as well.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on, particularly with Adelaide United doing quite well of late. I think it's
from
worth
the
giving them a
team,
mention.
we'll see you next week.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Yes.